In America, there are currently over 18.8 million veterans living across our country. Veterans, or retired members of America's military, have sacrificed everything to protect our freedom and well-beings, and unfortunately, many of these heroes are seriously injured or killed in the line of duty. If you are like me, you are probably wondering what you can do to help those who have given so much for you. Well, the answer to this question lies within the organization known as the Wounded Warrior Project. Most likely, many of you are related to or well acquainted with one of these veterans. However, even if you are not, these individuals have sacrificed their own lives to protect you and everything you cherish. In my own life, my father was a veteran as he served in the United States National Guard. I've grown up in an environment where I would constantly hear tales about the military and the importance and bravery of the Americans that served in our military force. America's veterans have sacrificed so much to protect the citizens of our country. As a result, I believe that it is essential for us to return the favor to those returning from the military, especially those who have been seriously wounded. The Wounded Warrior Project is one way in which you can do just that. In order to understand the importance of the Wounded Warrior Project, you must first understand the plethora of life-altering conditions that plague wounded veterans in our country. Many of you probably do not realize how many veterans return injured from the military and how critical and life-altering these conditions can be. However, many of the injuries that affect these veterans are very life-altering, and they occur more than you would believe. As I previously stated, over 18.8 Americans have served in the military in their lifetimes, whether it be World War I, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, or the War on Terror in the Middle East, or anything in between. These veterans often report that they are suffering from difficult mental conditions upon returning from combat. These include PTSD, anxiety, and depression. Statistics on PTSD in veterans, an article written by Elaine Howley, found that 11 to 20% of Iraq War veterans, 12% of Gulf War veterans, and between 15 and 30% of Vietnam War veterans are currently suffering from PTSD. If you are unaware, PTSD is a condition in which traumatic physical or mental events cause bouts of fear or helplessness within a person, and you can't control when this happens. In addition, unaddressed cases of PTSD and depression were the causes of over 6,000 veteran suicides in the years between 2006 and 2015. That is a lot. Finally, according to the Wounded Warrior Project, over 500,000 service members are living with mental health issues from combat, while over 320,000 are living with debilitating brain damage. In addition to mental health problems, many veterans deal with life-altering physical conditions from the military. Over 70% of veterans suffering from injuries are diagnosed with joint and musculoskeletal disabilities. However, unfortunately, only 1% suffer from limb loss. In addition to this, as Julia Ledoux of Radio.com reported, 16.2% of all wounded veterans are unemployed in the United States. The Wounded Warrior Project is working tirelessly to help address this problem, but I will get to that later. Now that you understand the conditions these veterans are suffering from, I will be able to explain how the Wounded Warrior Project can serve as a solution to these issues. I personally believe that it is important to give back to those who have put their lives on the line to protect our well-beings and freedoms, which is why the Wounded Warrior Project is the perfect organization to donate time and money to. The Wounded Warrior Project provides a variety of services for wounded service members, including physical and mental health resources. The Wounded Warrior Project is committed to improving veterans' mental health, and they have a couple different programs that utilize that, whether it be the Warrior Care Network, Combat Stress Recovery, or the Wounded Warrior Project Talk. The Warrior Care Network is a program in which veterans undergo therapy and other evidence-based programs for mental disabilities or injuries they may be living with. Combat Stress Recovery is a program in which veterans dealing with combat stress, PTSD, and traumatic brain injuries are alleviated of their conditions through the help of trained professionals. And finally, the Wounded Warrior Project Talk is a program in which veterans living with mental conditions can speak with trained consultants and receive help 24/7, any day a week, any day of the month. The Wounded Warrior Project also uses their resources to improve the physical health and well-being of injured veterans, and this includes workout training for those who return from war, and additionally educating them on the importance of nutrition and how they can work better nutrition into their lives. Finally, the Wounded Warrior Project offers a selection of life improvement services for veterans, such as education opportunities and career counseling to deal with the unemployment problem, and this has shown some serious improvements in the veteran unemployment rate. Now that you understand the important role this charity plays in the lives of wounded warriors, it is important to understand how this organization can shape the future. There are a couple different scenarios I will talk about, and each one has an outcome which the Wounded Warrior Project is integral in forming. First, The programs offered by the Wounded Warrior Project could drastically change the lives of many U.S. veterans if utilized correctly. By donating, you could play a role in the following scenarios. The Wounded Warrior Project has been focusing on lowering the veteran unemployment rate. In 2020, prior to coronavirus pandemic, the veteran unemployment rate was around 3.5%. It has been on a continual decline since the Korean and Vietnam Wars, where it was about 17%, and in the 1990s during the Gulf War, it reached about 7%, so it has been on a continual decline. Through the work of the Wounded Warrior Project, this rate will continue to decline as more and more veterans find employment opportunities through employment counseling and opportunities given to the Wounded Warrior Project. Second, the Wounded Warrior Project is currently researching new treatments for PTSD. One of these new treatments involves biomarkers, which could help professionals identify specific causes and triggers of PTSD, making it much easier to treat. This research is being performed through the donations the Wounded Warrior Project receives, and therefore donating to this organization will help vastly progress this research and hopefully make it a viable option for treating PTSD in the near future. Today, when I began my speech, I started by discussing the mental and physical afflictions that plague wounded United States veterans. My second main point was to discuss the Wounded Warrior Project's work and how it benefits every different kind of wounded warrior and wounded veteran. Finally, my last main point involved explaining possible outcomes of the Wounded Warrior Project's programs and its research of PTSD and how that can change the entire field of treating PTSD in the near future. Now that you have learned about the many wonderful goals of the Wounded Warrior Project, I ask each and every one of you to get involved with this important organization. Now, you can donate money at www.woundedwarriorproject.org/donate, and you can also donate time in order to help these wounded heroes get back on their feet. There are millions of veterans living across our country who have been greatly wounded during their lifetime in the United States military, and they have been wounded in the line of duty protecting you, your well-being, and your freedoms, and everyone you hold close. I believe that we must all give back to these heroes, and the Wounded Warrior Project is just one way we can all do this. The Wounded Warrior Project is a great way to give back to these brave soldiers, and I invite you to get involved with this wonderful organization. Thank you all for listening to my speech, and have a great day.